far more interesting, far more, I'm trying to think of some client-centric word. What would be something that clients would love? Far more innovative. Or what's that?
And admired.
Admired. Well, that's another good one. Yeah, admired or innovative. But I think that, but you know, it's really about what we do together that counts more.
Okay. And one of the first things that the joint leadership team did together when we, pre-integration, but when we first came together, we talked about what we wanted to be. And we came up with this vision statement, which is a combination of the AXA payer to partner, so moving from being just a payer to a partner, and XL's most admired. So if you remember, XL wanted to be the most admired reinsurance insurance player in the market. So that's what we want to be, the most admired partner. And we want to be known for superior service. We want to be known for being innovative and matching our clients' most complex risks. And you'll hear Greg say that there's a halo effect to that, so that if we take care of their most complex risks, that will naturally, they'll think of us to come to for their more simple and hopefully higher margin, easier risks. And the way we're going to do that, well, we're going to do that with having the best talent. And that's down to you guys. So what we want to be is the company that everyone wants to work for and everyone wants to build their career in. Using data and analytics, technology, and obviously the efficient and strong capital platform that AXA gives us.
So the only thing I'll add, I remember it was just after March, and I got a great invitation to go to a place called Stanford. Apparently it was in America. Apparently some of you may know it's a headquarters. So I showed up at this place, you know, Stanford, and there was the leadership. And the first thing that was debated and discussed was this statement. And I'll tell you what, it happened very, very quickly, because there was a lot of commonality and there was a lot of passion in the room amongst the leaders, and a lot of agreement around the key phrases. Not just the key phrases, because words are words, and we all know, we've all played that game in various management meetings, you know, in terms of the bingo style of it. But it's actually, it was the commonality of all the things behind the words, what it meant and how we could aspire to become those and what it means. So that to me was something really, really sort of exciting. And for you all, and those of you that know me and know me throughout my career, you know, probably more on the broking side than necessarily on the insurance side, you know, the key part here is this topic talent. It's yourselves. You can create words, you can create strategies. They all mean absolutely nothing without the best talent. Without the best talent pulling together in a collegiate way, facing off to a mission, and really enjoying what they're doing, enjoying the company of each other. And I think, you know, for me, when I look out here, this is to me the most exciting part. I've often said, you know, coming from the rugby, and I don't play now, but I used to, you know, when you came off the pitch as a winner, all you needed was 1 point of difference. And you know, I know a lot of you, probably not as many as I used to know in the old days, but I know there's a lot more than just 1 point of difference in this room. So to me, this is something that's really cool and something that we can have a lot of fun going after and building together.
And this slide just talks about where we are. Obviously, the deal's closed. And since the deal was announced through September when we closed and through now, all of you have been very busy doing a number of things. So we've been coming up with the target operating model, which I'll talk about in a minute. You'll notice that we've rebranded, but a lot of what we've done is we've talked about how we're going to integrate and how we're going to work with the GI entities. So you'll hear the words threshold. You'll hear the words corridor. So we're working in each country with where the business will go as far as the GI and where the business will go as far as AXA XL. We've named some leadership positions. We recognize that hasn't gone very far. And I think when we talk about consultation, I guess I'd just like to say that the consultation is there to protect employees. And it's a unique process that we have to go through, but it's there for a reason, and it's there to protect employees' interests. And it's ironic because I know that the one thing that most of you want to know is what's your role going to be and who's your boss going to be. And we can't tell you that because we can't tell you that until we've been through consultation. So apologies for that, but it's there for the right reason. And I think the main thing that I'd like to say is thank you. Thank you for being patient through this process. It is a process that we have to go through, but we appreciate how well you guys are working together, how focused you've been, and all of the wins that we keep on hearing that we're getting. And that's all down to the way that you guys are working and the way that you're not letting this get in the way of being that most admired partner.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That thank you is the most important aspect. I mean, this is a few of the stuff that's been done. There's going to be far more stuff that's yet to be done. You've actually accomplished a hell of a lot. I know there's frustration in the room. Believe you me, there's frustration everywhere. We would want to move faster. There's things that you know need to be done, hurdles that we need to overcome. But we will look back at this point in 5 or 10 years, and you know the length it's taken will seem but a fraction compared to what the achievements will be that you will have created from this undisputed leader of the industry. But a big thank you, because there's not a day goes by I don't hear of another win. And Paul, you're going to run through the numbers and some of the great things and talk about some of the fantastic sort of corporate and social things that you've been getting through and getting done. So, you know, thank you for all your efforts. Thank you for staying focused. Thank you for your commitment. It's not easy. Please reach out, you know, at any time, you know, to your managers, to any of us. You know, we're there to help, to coach, to inspire, and to hopefully to keep you excited about this journey. But a huge thank you to all of you. I was with the French team yesterday. It's the first time I've ever seen the whole French team together, and it was great. They were in multicoloured T-shirts, off to go do a CSR thing. But it was great to see them. It's great to see you. Thank you for letting me accompany you here on the stage, and thank you all for all your efforts today. Thanks.
Okay, so with that, oh, no. We're not done yet.
No, not done. I'm done, surely.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
great.
So with that, I'm handing over. Okay. I give you Paul Greensmith.
So, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Paul Greensmith, and I am the UK Regional CEO in Project Mode. And along with my colleague, Rob Littlemore, we're going to give you an update on the business, looking at what's going on in 2018, and giving you a sense of some of the key themes that we're focused on in 2019. So, just focusing in on the top line in 2018, so that's the premium and the price or rate movement. You can see there the three businesses that make up AXA XL in the UK. So we've got the old legacy XL Catlin business, AXA Art, and AXA Corporate Solutions. And you also get a sense for some of the scale between the different businesses there as well. And one thing that all three businesses have in common is that, unfortunately, on the top line, we are behind our GWP plan. Not hugely behind, but we are behind. And as I'll come on to in a second, most of that shortfall is absolutely for the right reasons. Rate, so again, two of the three businesses, so the legacy XL Catlin and also the AXA Art business, are a little behind rate, but significantly up on 2017 rate performance. And well done to AXA Corporate Solutions, who are slightly ahead of their rate plan. If we drill down and look at this a little closer, and it's a bit like a sight test, this particular slide, so I apologize for that. But what this is showing is for the legacy XL Catlin business only, which is obviously a very large proportion of our UK business, it's showing by product in insurance, the performance against plan, and also from a GWP perspective, and the rate against plan as well. And what you can see is the orange dots are the plan rate change, and the blue, what we've actually achieved. And with the exception of wholesale casualty, we have fallen short of our rate plan across the other product areas. If you look at GWP, and you saw before, we are a little behind our GWP plan. Actually, there are some significant differences between the different business units. So you can see areas like wholesale property, marine, aviation, and energy. We are very materially behind our GWP plans. And whilst usually we wouldn't say that's a good thing, they are the businesses that are most challenged in terms of market conditions and profitability at the moment. So a lot of that shortfall is absolutely down to sound underwriting decisions in the marketplace at this point in time. And positively, the businesses where we are at or ahead of our GWP plan year to date are typically those businesses where in recent history we have had better margin, better results. So areas like A&H, Fine Art and Specie, the casualty books, both wholesale and international, and also crisis management. So the good news is, hopefully we are getting a better portfolio mix relative to the market conditions. And as I said before, whilst we are off rate plan, the really good news is that with just under 5 points of rate this year, year to date, we are 8 points better than the same time last year. Okay? So whilst we are off rate plan, which is, it's really important in 2019, as I come on to, we hit our rate plans and even exceed our rate plans. In 2018 relative to 27, there's been an 8-point swing, which shows how much the market is changing. And just to reinforce that trend, the change in market conditions is starting to accelerate. That is driven by a combination of factors. So very poor results in the marketplace in recent times, including in Q3 and Q4. There's obviously been a lot of cat and large loss activity. The Lloyd's planning process, which a lot of you will be familiar with, which has been much more rigorous and constraining than at any other time, and also regulatory pressure. And what that is leading to, and you will see if you read the trade press and the Insurance Insider, that most weeks there have been announcements about insurers, carriers withdrawing from certain product lines. And we think that trend will continue. The other thing that you are starting to see very, very recently is, particularly on the property side, there's been a glut of what's called alternative capital, so third-party capital, non-traditional capital, and that has suppressed prices, particularly post the catastrophes. There is a lot of evidence over the last month or two that that alternative capital is starting to recede, which will have a big impact on pricing, particularly in property. And what you can see there is just picking out a few lines of business, so areas like airline, cargo, wholesale property. We've moved from 12, 18 months ago, negative rate, into starting to get consistent double-digit rate increases. It's not across all of our products, but it is starting to accelerate significantly in a number of areas. If you look at our Q3 and Q4 results for the UK AXA XL business, being honest, they are not looking very good. There is a list of cats up there. Most recently, you will have seen the Californian wildfires and obviously Hurricane Michael. And there has also been above average large losses. Now that doesn't just affect us, that affects our competitors as well. but it does absolutely reinforce the need for us to apply underwriting discipline and to drive rate as hard as we can. And the outcome of that Q3 and Q4 means, without getting into any detail, it's probably unlikely that in the UK we will hit our profit plan in 2018. The good news, the really good news is that having had a fairly tough year last year, the AXA Corporate Solutions business in the UK looks like it is on track, you know, touch wood, with 5 weeks to go to hit its profit plan, and that would demonstrate a major turnaround on last year, so well done to them. So 2019, what are the key themes? What are the things that we are focused on in the UK? So I've said this before, we are incredibly blessed in this business in that we have multiple competitive advantages. We've got a huge balance sheet, AA rated paper, our own global network. We're the #1 in the Lloyd's market. We've got huge product breadth, fantastic brand. We come top of all these broker surveys. And we've got great people. We've genuinely got leaders in the market. And yet, if you look at our UK profit performance over the last few years, it is average, okay? And it shouldn't be when you look at the capabilities that we have at our disposal, okay? And if the market is losing money and you have average profit performance, that is obviously not a good outcome. So our focus now and into 2019 is going to be on improving our profit margin, yeah, on growing profits. That is a huge element for us. And we are a big business in the UK. So next year, the insurance GWP in plan is $3.5 billion. We've got 630 million of reinsurance business in the UK, so we're over $4.1 billion of gross premium in the UK market, most of which is in London. But whilst we're a big business and we need to exploit that, we've got to remain agile and dynamic at the same time, and I'll talk about that in a second. So final slide for me on this section is really talking about, so what are some of the key themes for 2019? What are the things that we as a business, AXA XL in the UK, need to focus on? So you can see it at the top. Absolutely, we need to improve our profit margin. The whole market is focused on this. We absolutely need to be focused on this. If we can get the profit right with everything else we have got, we have an amazing opportunity in this marketplace. Absolutely fantastic. But we have to get that right. It's non-negotiable. We've got to do that whilst managing through quite a lot of change. So we have Brexit. You may have seen that in the press a little bit recently. We've got integration, obviously, with AXA and AXA Corporate Solutions and the AXA Group overall. And we also have a heck of a lot of, whether it's from Lloyd's or the PRA or the FCA, regulatory challenges and changes that we need to make. And we've got to adapt to that. So we're focused on profit and managing through that change. But the key thing that we absolutely have to do whilst we're managing through that process is to maintain what, in the eyes of customers and brokers, and I hope employees, is maintain what makes this place special and different. And whether that's a focus on innovation, whether that's a focus on agility and the ability for people to continue to make decisions, underwriters, claims, whoever it might be, or whether it's some of the fantastic stuff that Katie and Chris are going to talk about in a minute on employee engagement, we have to continue to act in an engaged and enjoyable, and keep this place an enjoyable place to work. Yeah? And I think we've done a great job of that, and Katie and Chris will talk about that in more detail, but who would have thought that we would have over 100 people turn out to stroke 3 dogs? Or that our massages would sell out in 4 minutes online. You know, these are all the kinds of things that we've done a great job of in 2019. And even though we're focused on profitability, we've got to keep that stuff. So next year, in summary, is going to be a tough year. There is a lot to do. But I hope and I'm sure we can keep it a fun and rewarding experience for everybody in the business. And there'll be a lot of opportunities for people to learn and grow. Okay, with that, I'll hand over to Rob to talk about reinsurance.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Rob Nicklemore. I'm the Chief Executive of the London Reinsurance team. I'm just going to take you through... All right. Just going to take you through some of the numbers at a high level, and then I'm going to go through some of the sort of the key issues that are impacting us in reinsurance that have impacted us this year for 18, but as Paul did, talk about some of the things for 19 as well. So here we have the high-level numbers. We've got here, we were looking to write for a 12-month period for reinsurance in 18, 654 million. So by the third quarter, we were expecting to be at 632 million. In fact, we've come in at 675. So in a normal course of events, I'll be delighted. Nice top-line growth, exactly what we're looking for. But unfortunately, the events of the Q3 and some of the cats that we've had have impacted us because that's actually been, a lot of that growth is as a result of reinstatement premiums. Just to be clear, this is when our clients pay us additional premium to reinstate their limit. So you don't normally want to grow as a result because it means you're paying losses, unfortunately. But we have had some good growth in some areas. But we were targeting a 7% rate increase for 2018. And you can see here that we've come up a bit short. But it's positive. The reason behind that is that, as we've talked about on many quarters before, that the abundance of capacity that exists within some of our reinsurance lines, and particularly the property catastrophe area, that hasn't abated. And what we were hoping, post those HIM events, which we were really hoping was going to be a sort of a point where the market was really going to kick on and we're going to start bouncing up the way, a lot of that, however, was suppressed. We were able to secure rate increases on areas where we were paying losses, but outside of that, the market just didn't move, and that had a dampening effect on our overall average. But we have exceeded plan on the casualty side and got some new clients, so there's some positive things that came out of it. It's just the fact it was a bit disappointing for what we set out for our objectives in 2018. But the great thing is that we're well positioned and it's positive, and in the same way as Paul was on the insurance side, it's a positive step in the right direction. We break the book down between property, casualty and specialty, you can see there. So it was only really the property area that was, you can see, the half of what we were looking for. Specialty did very good, and obviously you can see casualty outperformed. So we're set up. So yes, the Q3 and Q4 losses was, as Paul said, he listed out and on his slide, things like the likes of Jebi, Trami, Michael, and now obviously the most recent ones are the California wildfires. These are very expensive losses that have impacted the insurance, but they've become significant events for reinsurance. So it will definitely impact our numbers. We had a very good first half of the year, but the second half has been much more challenging for us. And as Paul said, the summer months for a lot of people around Lloyd's and the press that was covering was very much about the Lloyd's business plan process and Decile 10. Lloyd's were effectively putting a mirror up to our organisations and saying, do you like what you see? There needs to be lots of underwriting action that needs to take place on people's business plans. We reinsure a number of those Lloyd's players, and what that's had an impact is that for a lot of our clients, they haven't known what their business plan is going to look like for 2008 to 2019 till very recently. When they've obviously now, a lot of them are cutting back on classes of business, some of them are exiting completely. We've even seen some of our syndicates close down. So there's been a massive impact in our London market portfolio, which obviously will knock on for some of the business opportunities we're getting in 19. We should be protecting much better books of business as a result, but it has had a knock-on to how, at this point, we're almost into December, and we've hardly any firm orders at this point. So it's very difficult for me to talk about how the renewal season's going to play out. But all we do see is that because of all of this change, there is lots of things that are moving, lots of moving parts, and that's all good news for reinsurance. As it gets later and later, we're starting to see what we call the retro market tighten up, which is the reinsurance of reinsurance players. That's starting to tighten. That's going to start having knock-on effects as we go through. And what we're really hoping for is that this now, as we start building into 19, we're starting to get some momentum from a rating perspective. It is very clear in reinsurance we're not getting enough money for our product. The last 2 years have been very, very challenging. But until we start seeing some of that capacity pull away, it's very, very difficult to get that momentum. But we're really starting now to see some of those green shoots of improvement. So we're really quite positive that it's going to at last start to happen. During 2018, we've also restructured reinsurance. We're now only 4 regions. We used to be 5. We've now got London, obviously, which I'm responsible for. We've got Bermuda, North America. And what we've done is we've combined EMEA and our LAC divisions into one. And the reason behind that, again, is all about building that one reinsurer. We don't need to have all the resources in every region. What we're doing is a lot more fungible resources, sharing resources across various different regions. That move to make one international unit will obviously help in that process. Brexit actually has been minimal impact for reinsurance. But the reason I put it on there is really just to talk about the strength of what this group brings, is that we have the ability to put out different paper, different legal entities, come up for solutions for clients that many people that are just operating in Lloyd's haven't really got, or some of the other London market companies. We've got an abundance of different paper that we can utilise to find that solution. That puts us a huge advantage compared to our peers. And if we are truly talking about one reinsurer, it really doesn't matter what legal entity we put it on, as long as it, again, stays within the AXA XL group. And finally, the last thing I just wanted to mention was the Reinsurance Academy. There's been some terrific work on the underwriting insurance side, and we're looking to build on top of that. Through the employee engagement feedback, it was a lot about we need more training and development. We hope that this will be a huge step in that direction to really building out a number of different programs on a quarterly basis as we go through 2019. So an awful lot going on, as Paul said. It's certainly going to be a very challenging year end for reinsurance. I mean, lots of late nights, because we've got a lot to get done because, as I say, we've got 1 or 2 orders, and at the moment we write close to 50% of our book at 1/1. So it will be a very busy few weeks. But we like that dislocation, we like that change, because when people are struggling to get their reinsurance home, that's good news for us. We hopefully starting seeing some improving prices, and we hope that builds momentum during the year. So the time that we get to the May and June, July renewals, we're hopefully going to be in a better marketplace. So lots to look forward to. Chris, over to you. Thanks, Rob. Oh, the clickers.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Chris Lockwood. This is Katie Pycock. We're going to take you through some of the things that have been going on across the UK community in terms of engagement initiatives, the networks, and also some of the charities that we've been working towards. It goes without saying that there's a huge amount going on and that has been going on, and we're just going to touch on some of the examples. There's also quite a lot of legacy terminology that's going to be touched on upon the slides up here, but I think the key thing to say is that all of the items that we talk about are available to all. So it's very much a case that if you've not already been receiving emails about these initiatives, you will be very soon, and it will come to all members of the UK community, regardless of legacy company. I'll hand over to Katie now.
Yeah. So the engagement survey that XL Catlin completed in 2017 led to 11 local UK projects and initiatives with over 60 colleagues involved in different project teams. These project teams have been meeting regularly and are in different stages of implementation. We want to thank you all for your contribution, effort and collaboration from across the organisation, which has helped deliver a number of achievements in 2018, with more to come in 2019. Some of these examples include the Health and Wellness Network. So they've provided a wide range of initiatives across XL Catlin, AXA Corporate Solutions and AXA R over the last year. One of these examples being the AXA Corporate Solutions Couch to 5K programme. There are also the following events which are planned for December. One of these being the Mindfulness Calm Before Christmas on the 7th of December, where you can learn simple mindfulness techniques. There will also be a Vitality Workshop on the 10th of December, where they will provide you with tools to manage your energy levels. In relation to the Mentoring UK project, we will be launching on the 7th of February with a speed mentoring session. We have obtained up to 50 mentors so far, so please feel free to save the date, and further communications on this will follow shortly. Thirdly, in relation to the Engagement Tips and Hints project, there are a series of videos and training content for colleagues to assist in engagement, involvement and collaboration. This is starting in Q1 2019 with team huddles. Lastly, in relation to the London Meetup Hobby and Interest Group, this brings together a various amount of different project groups, and there is also provided a how-to guide on how to create your own group. Again, there will be more information on this to follow.
So just a few other examples that are up on the slide here. As I said earlier, these are just a few examples of the various different things going on. But Partner Up UK, that's the brand that's been put in for the job shadowing that will launch in Q1 of 2019. We've got a whole number of hosts that have already signed up to be a host for shadowers, so thanks very much for those that have come forward and always looking for more. We also have the local project board, which will launch in Q2 of 2019, which will effectively be a portal for project teams to be able to advertise their projects and see if there are others that might want to get involved, where they want to get involved in things outside of the normal things that they're doing. We also have the local recognition team, so the UK recognition team, and their team, the team there have had a proposal around thank yous and rewards that have just been approved by the UK management team, and that will launch in the first half of 2019. And then lastly, on this slide, the AXA XL UK corporate induction. So this is something that launched a few months ago now as a refreshed induction session for new employees. We've had 20 or so people go through a couple of sessions, and that's included information ranging from underwriting and claims to legal and compliance to CSR, and something that is obviously important to all of our new starters. So just moving on to some of the network updates. First of all, just talk through some of the things that AXA Corporate Solutions have been doing. Established a monthly mix, have established this year monthly mixer socials in London and Ipswich offices that's been sponsored by the Focus, Innovate, Transform Committee. Also have improved the quarterly staff recognition awards over the last year, and there's been continued support and very good attendance at the shared train upskill sessions that have happened throughout the year. From AXA Art and the staff interest group there's been monthly activities, the most recent of which was the Thanksgiving and Christmas quiz night last week, which was supporting the AXA Arts Charity of the Year, which is Starlight Children's Foundation. A couple of things to say in terms of the other items up on that slide. From a diversity and inclusion point of view, there's two events that are coming up. One being an Overcoming Barriers talk by Dr. Amit Patel that AXA Investment Managers are hosting on the 3rd of December next week. Which you can sign up for, which is a talk by him on his life after becoming blind. And then in February, there's a Inclusive Behaviour Lunch and Learn that's being hosted by Liz Grant. From the Plus Network, so we've got the first birthday event tomorrow evening, starting at around 5 o'clock with a talk at 5:30 from the Warwick Rowers, who went viral with their calendar, and they set up a charity after that called Sport Allies, who are hosting the event with us. If you want to attend that tomorrow evening and you're not attending, then please email Miriam Reason pretty quickly. Also, tomorrow there'll be in room 7.6 in 20 Gracechurch, there'll be a rowing competition for anybody who wants to take part in that. That'll be going on all day, I think, all day. And then the other thing to mention is that we're promoting rainbow laces. I've got a pair here, and Miriam's got another 100 pairs in a bag by her side there for people who want to support, and they're available either today or at the event tomorrow evening. Katie.
Yeah. So in relation to some of the other networks in our office, the Young Professionals Network are hosting a Christmas social in partnership with Kennedy's Law on the 5th of December. And on the 23rd of January, there will also be an ACII peer-to-peer review, and there's more details to follow on this in January. And we are also pleased to announce that in 2019, we will be extending the yoga timetable to lunchtimes, as well as the morning and evening sessions already available. So in relation to the Future Focus Network, they have continued to update the Explorable on the 7th floor, including monthly demos. They are also looking for new committee members, so if you are interested in joining, please do not hesitate to contact Bobby Mansfield. Lastly, the group is sponsoring the next Innovation Cup, which you will hear about more later from Paul. So in relation to the Women of the World Network, in October we had a fantastic event on returning to work following extended leave, and there is a video of this panel discussion available on the PEN page. While London would also like to thank all of you who donated at the recent clothes drive and food bank. We are pleased to let you know that we were able to obtain 4 large boxes of women's clothes for SmartWorks charity, 4 large boxes of men's clothes for Suited and Booted, and 6 large boxes for the First Love Food Foundation for their food bank in Tower Hamlets. Also, in relation to the Green Behaviour Network, we will be running a workshop on how to minimise waste during the festive period. And we will also be running a workshop on the impact of Brexit on the environment, and we'll be organising a volunteering opportunity to clean up the Thames in the spring. Also, in relation to the charities that we are supporting over the Christmas period, there will be a Christmas Giving Week during the week of the 10th of December, where we will be supporting various charities that we've supported this year. This will include the Christmas Essentials for Providence Row, where we'll be donating toiletries and food to a local East London charity that provides support to the homeless. There will also be a Momentum Mince Pie fundraiser, so please feel free to come up on Wednesday the 12th or Thursday the 13th to donate money and buy mince pie or some Lindt chocolate for Momentum Children's charity. And on the 14th of December, there will also be a Save the Children Christmas Jumper Day. So please feel free to wear one of your jazziest, most sparkliest Christmas jumpers for that day to support Save the Children.
Thanks, Katie. AXA Arts will have a Christmas hamper raffle and games to raise funds for the Starlight charity. As I mentioned that charity earlier, the AXA Corporate Solutions team will, in the Ipswich office, will be participating in a Woolly Pulley Day, which will be in support of St Elizabeth's Hospice, which is their National Charity of the Year. Also, as I said earlier, in terms of available to all, you will have maybe received, you will have received an email over the last couple of days about the Children's Christmas Party, which is happening on the 20th of December, and the ticket sales from that are supporting Momentum. But you need to apply for a ticket, so this week, if you want to enter the ballot for what's a very popular event. So please email through as per the instructions on that email. And then just the last slide from us. You may want to join Rob Littlemore in the Santa in the City Dash next Thursday evening. If any of you fancy supporting Momentum and signing up to running around a small part of London in a Santa suit on Thursday evening, then please email csr@axaxl.com in the next couple of days. So it just leaves me to say, on behalf of Katie and I, thanks very much for all of your continued involvement in all of these initiatives, because without that, obviously, we wouldn't have the successes that we've had, and obviously the things that are coming up in 2019. So please do sign up and get involved. Thanks very much.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff, isn't it? Fantastic. I think we are moving to talk about innovation and the Innovation Cup. And if the technology doesn't fail me, I think we have a video that we're going to show.
More dramatic.
Yeah, just a bit like
natural.
I don't feel comfortable at all. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Innovations at AXA XL is about challenging what we do and finding out and discovering what we don't do already.
our clients are changing and they're demanding that we change with them.
Just part of the day-to-day conversations, you know, what's happening? You know, how is the world changing and how can we be part of that?
Absolutely. So that's the answer. The answer is actually using innovation to address some of these issues.
It's about encouraging your team and being their leader.
The company, the leadership team can't force innovation, but it can create the groups that will help innovation. Accelerate, Digital, the future focus groups. It can also help encourage innovation with executive sponsorship, manager support, innovation champions.
From myself to the leadership team to all the senior management at AXA XL, we are committed 100% to making sure that your ideas, your creativity move forward and allow us to remain at the top of the innovation table.
I definitely encourage people to do things outside their day-to-day role.
Take it, own it, find a way to deliver it.
I think my role in that is to help push it forward and drive it forward.
Come talk to me about it. Go and talk to your manager about it. Talk to somebody who you think can help you.
Being involved in innovation makes you feel like you have a voice and that you can actually be the person that's coming up with the answer to something that hasn't been solved before.
It's something that I was interested in, so I just put my hand up and I got full support from my manager.
AXA XL definitely has given me the opportunity to be innovative. There are loads of networks, loads of groups, loads of passionate people sort of dotted all over the company. You just got to find them.
So Accelerate is very much focused on how we create commercial opportunities for the group that are really transformational in nature, but also really using that mind-boggling toolkit of technology.
Digital is the team that delivers. Digital is the team that drives technology innovation within the organisation.
So the Future Focus Network is a community of colleagues that want to build a culture where innovation can thrive.
FIT gives a voice for all employees to talk about any ideas they have, no matter how big, small or improbable they may be.
So the Innovation Cup is a competition where people can bring out fantastic ideas, big or small, and get support and get funding to turn them from an idea into a reality.
This is about culture, right? So the more people who are involved, the better.
To get involved with FIT, we have members in both Ipswich and London. We have an email address.
Everything that you do can end up being innovative.
The more enthusiasm you see internally and externally, the more it kind of opens your mind to ideas of innovation.
Embrace failure, because that's just the best way to learn.
The only way we're going to do it is by creating a mindset that allows people from every part of the company to create meaningful change in what we're doing.
Be brave and go and ask questions of people, and I think you'll be surprised and find that you get a lot of support.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's it. It's perfect.
Good. Glad I didn't spend ages preparing for that. Very kind of them to leave that in, wasn't it? So you've heard what your colleagues have to say about innovation and how important it is to us as a business. And yes, folks, it is Innovation Cup 3-time. Well, we're going to have to do that again. There we go, fantastic. So last year we had 27 entries, we had 10 finalists turn up and did pitches, we had 2 runners-up and we obviously had 1 winner. And we have a fantastic track record of implementation around these ideas. Once again, we have got the Digital and Accelerate teams all geared up to support the successful entrants. This year there is an added element, which is we are joining with our Polish colleagues. So they are running an Innovation Cup competition, and the finalists are going to go into a big European final with us. So the competition is going to be even hotter. All you've got to do, once again, and the details are on the pen, is to enter your idea or your original piece of thought leadership into the competition, and once again you have the opportunity to have your idea implemented and sponsored. You will, if you win a holiday, and the guys who went to the Sea Life Centre at Rhyl last year had an absolutely fantastic time. And yes, once again, we're dragging out for the third year that cheap alloy trophy. But please get involved. People who got involved last year had a lot of fun and I think got a lot out of it. So yeah, get involved. So I think that is it from me. The boss is in the room. So Greg, fresh from his Investor Day adventures earlier this morning, has come down very kindly. So Greg, why don't you come up on stage?
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. Paul, it's great when they leave the video camera on, isn't it? Because my head was giant and huge. It's warm in this room. I stand between you and drinks, I think. Paul, is that correct? Yeah? Pretty good. Good place to be. So I will be brief. You will be remarkably pleased. I'll touch on a little bit on innovation and a story, a little bit about profitability versus growth, and then a word of thanks. So innovation, you know, you saw my giant head. It is important to me. I just stuck it out there again. Kelly and Rob did a great job, a much better version of Greg than Greg. We just stuck out there at the very start of my presentation in the Investor Day was that most admired partner, superior customer service, known for innovative solutions around complex risks. So we're doubling down on it. And we're doubling down on it in two ways. Both in, yes, what we do well around the product, the design of the product, how we innovate the product, how we create new products, but also processes and capabilities. And a little story, I had 5 people show up in my office. It's a blur of days recently. Last week, unsponsored by anybody, undirected by me or anyone else in the firm, and align around a topic that the 5 of them in a variety of ways have touched and not always agreed on the way forward. And they showed up and came and gave a presentation around why we needed to shift. I'm going to try and keep them anonymous unless they want to tell you later. Keep the process moving of data and getting better and better customer data, particularly as we bring these 2 firms together, or the 3 firms together. But more importantly, particularly within Legacy XL, how do we really draw out the best of all the data we have? Now, there were many pleasing things to that. One, they happen to be all women, which is pretty damn good, in my opinion. Doesn't mean that men are bad, just means it was great that I had 5 women in my office telling me what to do. Well, it wasn't in my office, in the strategy room. But it was great that it was 5 women. It was great that it was undirected and unsponsored and of their own. And it was fantastic that it could have a huge impact on how we go forward next year. So I can't stress enough the willingness from myself, from the leadership team, from the senior leadership in this firm, that if you have something that you want to change, that you think is broken or needs to be fixed, yes, I love the product stuff. Yes, I love InsurTech. Yes, that gets the sexy headlines. But if you have something that we can do better, please, by all means, do it. Use the Innovation Cup. I don't know what the cheap tin was it? No. Alloy. Cheap alloy trophy is. I think that's probably less important, as you know, than the actual idea and the improvement in the company. So that's a little bit on innovation. Profitability versus growth. I won't belabor. You can all watch it online. I think you should at some point, maybe after you've had a couple of drinks, watch the Investor Day presentation. It was 3 hours, so it was a half hour from introduction by Thomas, our CEO, Gordon Watson, who runs Asia, myself on behalf of all of you for AXA XL, and Gerald, the CFO, on the capital management piece. And then we took 90 minutes of Q&A, or 75 minutes of Q&A. I encourage you to watch it. There's a lot of good stuff in there, particularly if you're coming from Legacy XL Catlin. You won't be as familiar with all the things AXA. It's a very, very impressive organization. But in there, we got into the conversation of, I put us all on the hook. Sorry, you're all in it together with me. I put us on the hook to make, in 2020 as AXA XL, make 1.4 billion euros of profit and deliver about a 95% combined ratio. We hedged it a little bit and said about. And it's not a 95, it's a, AXA does a combined ratio a little bit different. I won't do his service, but just think gross combined ratio as opposed to net. That's not quite right, but it's close. It's the gross result less the benefit of reinsurance over the gross premium. But it's roughly equivalent to what we would have said was 95% before. So we're all in it together. It's a very achievable goal. When you think about $500 million of synergies, some of them revenue, some of them expense, some of them reinsurance, a lift of about $100 million, $500 million, $100 million from an investment strategy. It's improved on the Excel book. It's achievable, but it's only going to happen if we improve the margin. It's not going to come from flat-out growth. So for the moment, I'm going to speak to all the underwriters, anyone facing the customers, but in particular underwriters. If there's any confusion before about what I have ever said about growth, the phrase is profitable growth, not growth. So you have my blessing to go out and get more margin. It is a changing market. I think Rob's a very good reinsurance executive, so he's always kind of under-promising and over-delivering. It is a turning market. And when I talk to retro, which Rob mentioned, when I talk to alternative capital, when I talk to my colleagues in the marketplace, if you think about it, there's been $200 billion of cat losses roughly from August 1st of last year. That's a big event. And there was a couple of man-made losses up there. I think the shipyard was $750 million. There might have been a big dam somewhere in South America that was $1.25 billion. I won't go on and list all of them. There is a lot of loss in the marketplace. And you see the decile work at Lloyd's. You see, regrettably, you see people losing their jobs. I got a note the other day in the property-directed facultative market here in London. There's 26 names, underwriters, not employed at the moment because people are contracting and shutting down. If that isn't the hallmark of a sign of a changing market, I don't know what is. I'm not saying it's the hard market of after the tragedy of 9/11 or after Katrina, Rita, Wilma, but it is a firming market, and we should go out and get every dollar that I heard Kelly as I walked in the door, that we should not be embarrassed to ask for as a leader in the marketplace to go out and get more profit. So profitable growth. Yes, I want to grow. Of course, a healthy institution always grows, but it's got to be profitable. So I hope that's clear. And then quickly, am I supposed to do Q&A? Or are we? Yeah, I think we're going to give the opportunity. Okay, fantastic. Thanks. Thanks to everyone that presented. I appreciate that, but most importantly, thanks to Rob. Rob has done in a situation that could have been awkward personally between the two of us, a change in the institution, a change in what Rob wants to do next. You could have expected Rob to check out and put his feet up. Rob's done anything but that. He has been a tireless cheerleader. Every time I see him, and it will happen again tonight, I promise you, on my way out the door, he'll come around, put his arm around me and go, "Keep at it, Greg. You're doing the right thing. I believe in what you're building. I think this is a great thing for AXA Group." So Rob, a personal thanks. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And last but most importantly, I will be back. I don't know if I'll be back for many of there seems to be something going on. It's hard to stay. There's a lot of night events around London, which I like. So I got to come run. I'll be here next Thursday night, so I may put a Santa suit on and go for a jog with you all. Sounds intriguing just to see it, to be honest. But I don't know if I'll be back for the holiday event and all that. So I want to say, I know this has been, this has been a lot of stuff over 3 years, right? Excel and Catlin coming together, getting through all that, getting through all the changes, then AXA now and Excel coming together. And I know you guys have been doing a ton of hard work. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you all very much. Keep at it. This will, as you know from the last time we did this with Excel and Catlin together, and if you've ever been involved in them before, this too will pass. It will be business as normal very soon, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you and have a great holiday season with you and your family. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. With that, I'll look at Paul and say, we'll take any questions. Yeah. Okay. Knowing it is warm in here. Or is it just me?
No, it's warm in here. So I think everyone's done very well after just over an hour to keep their attention and focus. So and we have got drinks beckoning, but I know there are a couple of pre-prepared questions, and I think if people have got some key questions that they want to get out, here's your chance. We've got Kelly, we've got Rob, me and Rob and Greg, and anything for Chris and Katie or anybody else around some of the employee engagement stuff. This is your opportunity to ask questions. I thought there'd be a... Well,
that's coming from anonymously into the mailbox. So can we have any timeframes when teams can expect to hear reporting lines or organisational charts?
Yes. Well, roughly, and someone will correct me within either Paul or Kelly, or someone will correct me if I get it wrong, but roughly in my mind, the consultation, the first wave of the consultation will finish in January, and we would expect to have a wave, I'm looking at a wave of announcements then, and then we'll look at the process, and I would say by the end of the first quarter, we should have most things announced. I'm getting a lot of nodding, yeah. So, but that's, and I know that's not an acceptable timeline from what we all want to know and have certainty, but it is the process we have to follow. There are hundreds of colleagues, particularly in continental Europe, but here as well, that are impacted by this, and we need to do the right thing. And as Kelly or Rob or someone said, it's for your protection as colleagues. It's not just because we want to leave you hanging in the dark. So at the latest, by the end of the first quarter.
Any others?
Okay, we had one other one through the mailbox. So XL Catlin was committed to developing women, and particularly in senior roles. However, there seem to be less women on the leadership team, and the announcements that have been made so far, about 15% went to women. So this with the gender pay gap is a little bit disappointing. So are we still committed to it? And if so, what actions are being taken to make sure that women are developed?
We are, it's a fair observation. Regrettably, when we changed from a publicly traded company, many of the executives that were on the leadership team that were women, oh, sorry, they still are women, that were executives, sorry, left with this, so it was a matter of not, I'll personalize it for myself, it wasn't about me not wanting to have women, kind of the contrary, it was at a moment in time when there was a shift away from the executives that had been with us to a new group. AXA Group, as well as myself and AXA XL, are very committed to diversity and inclusion. We continue the Women of the World. We continue, I'm mentoring a couple of women both within the institution and outside the institution from my alma mater, my university. I am personally very committed to it. What do we have to do? We have to continue to develop that pipeline. We have to continue to convert women in senior levels and continue to push them along. I promise that we will do that. I apologize that it didn't work out on the leadership team. It wasn't for any reason other than a moment in time where we had a shift of people.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to Greg. Thank you to all the presenters. Thank you to all of you guys for coming down and listening. I hope you found it useful. Now is the favourite part, which is you go and get to have some drinks and get somewhere cool. Oh, and there are rainbow shoelaces that Miriam has if you want to come and get some out there in the drinks area. Otherwise, thank you very much.